In the small West African country of Guinea-Bissau, a nation long troubled by political instability, military uprisings and fragile institutions, a new name has suddenly taken the spotlight. Horta Inta-A Na Man, a once little-known military officer whose rise to power shocked his nation and the world, now stands at the center of one of the most significant political transitions in modern Bissau-Guinean history. This is the story of a soldier shaped by conflict, propelled by allegiance, and placed into the highest office through the force of arms. A story still unfolding, yet already powerful enough to reshape the nation's destiny. This is the full biography of Horta Inta-A Na Man. Very little is known about the early life of Horta Inta-A Na Man. Public records do not reveal his birth date, only that he was born sometime during the 1960s, a period in which Guinea-Bissau was fighting its war of independence from Portuguese colonial rule. He is believed to come from the Balanta ethnic group, a community that has traditionally dominated the military landscape of the country. The Balanta people are known for their discipline, resilience, and long-standing participation in national defense forces. Horta's upbringing, though largely undocumented, was almost certainly shaped by this environment, one where military discipline, loyalty, and political turbulence were ordinary parts of daily life. For a young man growing up amid instability, joining the military was not just a career path. It was a way to secure identity, purpose, and influence. Horta Inta-A Na Man entered the armed forces as a young man, beginning a long journey that quietly matured behind the scenes. His early years were spent in lower-ranking units, earning him a slow but steady rise within the military hierarchy. This was not a man who became famous overnight. Instead, he built a career through loyalty to his superiors, dedication to command, and a reputation for being both disciplined and decisive. With Guinea-Bissau frequently shaken by political uprisings, failed coups, and leadership changes, officers like Horta had to learn to adapt, survive, and position themselves strategically. His path would eventually lead him into one of the most sensitive and powerful structures in the country, the Presidential Guard. The Presidential Guard in Guinea-Bissau is a special unit, entrusted with protecting the head of state. It is not a position given lightly. When Horta Inta-A Na Man became commander of one of the battalions in this elite force, he entered a new chapter of influence. In this role, he developed a close working relationship with President Umaro Sissoco Embalo, who relied heavily on trusted military officers to maintain control in a nation often threatened by internal divisions. This relationship would prove decisive in Horta's future. But the turning point came in February 2022. On that day, gunmen launched an attack on government institutions in an attempted coup. The confrontation was intense, and chaos spread quickly throughout Bissau. It was Horta's unit, the Presidential Guard, that responded with force, repelling the attackers and ensuring that the president remained in power. From that moment on, Embalo saw Horta not merely as a military officer, but as a reliable protector. Promotion soon followed. In the months and years after the failed 2022 coup, Horta Inta-A's career accelerated. He was promoted to commander of the National Guard, then appointed brigadier general, and later elevated to the role of chief of the general staff, one of the highest positions in the armed forces. His influence expanded from protecting the president to overseeing the broader security apparatus of the nation. In 2023, he briefly served as a special chief of staff to President Embalo, a newly created position that placed him intimately close to the presidency. Although this role was short-lived before he returned to military command, it demonstrated the extraordinary trust the political leadership placed in him. By late 2024, Horta Inta-A Na Man was one of the most powerful military figures in Guinea-Bissau, a man whose loyalty had been rewarded with authority. But as history often shows, proximity to power can sometimes lead to seizing it. Tension within Guinea-Bissau continued to worsen throughout 2024 and 2025. Political disagreements escalated. The parliament was repeatedly dissolved. Accusations of corruption spread widely. Drug trafficking networks, long associated with instability in the country, were believed to be influencing key institutions. It was within this climate of uncertainty, mistrust, and political tension that the stage was set for a dramatic shift. Behind closed doors, senior officers, some aligned closely with President Embalo, others disillusioned with the country's direction, debated the future. Rumors circulated of potential military intervention. Public frustration was growing, and institutions were losing credibility. Horta Inta-A Na Man remained silent during this period, occupying a powerful position but revealing little of his intentions. Then came November 2025. On the morning of November 26, 2025, Guinea-Bissau awoke to the unexpected. Military vehicles patrolled the capital. Soldiers occupied government buildings. A televised announcement declared that the armed forces had taken control of the state. Political leaders were detained or removed from their positions. The constitution was effectively suspended. The officers leading the takeover presented themselves as a force of national restoration, claiming that the government had failed to maintain stability, protect institutions, and control criminal infiltration. Their message was clear. The military had intervened to save the nation from collapse. By the following day, November 27th, Horta Inta-A Na Man, now recognized as the face of the movement, was sworn in as the Transitional President of Guinea-Bissau. Alongside him, the High Military Command for the Restoration of National Security and Public Order was established. The era of civilian governance had ended, at least temporarily. The world took notice. During his inauguration speech, Horta Inta-A Na Man presented himself as a man stepping in, not for personal ambition, but for national salvation. He promised stability. He promised to fight corruption. He vowed to dismantle the growing influence of drug trafficking, which had haunted the country for years. He assured the population that the transition would be peaceful, deliberate, and limited to a single year, after which constitutional order would supposedly return. For many citizens, weary of political tension and insecurity, his words brought a glimmer of hope. For others, however, they brought fear. Fear of prolonged military rule, fear of repression, fear of the unknown. His rise was as dramatic as it was controversial. As expected, international organizations responded swiftly. The African Union condemned the takeover as an unconstitutional change of power and suspended Guinea-Bissau's membership. International partners expressed concern about human rights, democratic stability, and the future of governance. Some countries demanded a rapid return to civilian rule, while others adopted a cautious wait-and-see approach. In the region, where coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Gabon had already shaken confidence in democratic transitions, Guinea-Bissau's new situation added yet another chapter to West Africa's evolving landscape of military political dominance. Yet inside Guinea-Bissau, the military held firm. Horta Inta-A Na Man was not merely a soldier anymore. He was the head of state. Despite his new prominence, the personal life of Horta Inta-A Na Man remains largely unknown. There are no widely published details about his family, his childhood experiences, or his private personality. What is visible is only what decades in the military have shaped: a disciplined, reserved, and highly strategic individual who rarely shows emotion in public. Observers describe him as a quiet operator, not a man of political speeches or public grandstanding, but one who speaks through decisions. Those who served under him note that he is firm, focused, and at times uncompromising. His loyalties appear strong, but his ambitions remain unpredictable, creating an air of mystery around him. Under the transitional government, Horta Inta-A has pledged to restore national security, root out corruption, strengthen state institutions, and prepare the country for elections after a one-year transition. Yet questions remain. Will the military truly step aside after 1 year? Will reforms be genuine or symbolic? Will the period of transition bring stability or deepen uncertainty? These questions define the present debate in Guinea-Bissau. For now, Horta Inta-A stands as the man responsible for guiding a fragile nation through one of the most critical chapters in its modern history. Supporters believe he may bring order where chaos once prevailed. Critics warn that the country risks repeating its long cycle of military dominance. Only time will reveal which direction his leadership will take. The story of Horta Inta-A Na Man is still unfolding. From a quiet soldier rising through the ranks, to the trusted protector of a president, and finally to the powerful figure who seized national control. His journey reflects the complexities of Guinea-Bissau itself, a nation caught between hope and turmoil, between democracy and military rule, between uncertainty and determination. As the world watches, one thing is clear: his leadership will shape the future of Guinea-Bissau in ways yet to be fully understood. This is the biography of a man whose rise to power has redefined his nation and whose next steps may determine its destiny.